All right, and we are on
Inshallah.
and live and all that good stuff. And even
Yeah.
better, I just already tweeted out the link on our feed. So we're getting a lot more streamlined about this. I'm pretty impressed with ourselves.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, man. We're fucking rolling, man. We got the professional, like, some legit stuff, man. You're like tracking news stories and stuff. We're doing like editorial meetings and
yeah, I mean that's
got
what
our
that
act
this
together, man.
yeah that's kind of like how we wanted. Look at that. You even get to check our Twitter. Or yeah, there you go. There's my Twitter thing right there. You could even spot that. You don't have to wait for us to plug our own handles at the end of the show. But I guess the big newsmaker, as always, is the president,
My man.
who hit the campaign trail, COVID and all, taking his COVID with him to his
Yeah, he's
people.
gotta, he's gonna bring his strong message of solidarity to the American people who are struggling, and they just need to see their president. They need to
Yeah,
see him. They need to see a big man.
I mean he has to still be contagious, right? I mean at this point it seems like a
Yeah,
little
I
early on that he's not contagious anymore.
yeah.
You know, and,
Um,
well, and he has to be on something because even for him, he's a little bit more unhinged than when he's usually doing his off the cuff stuff.
he's got fucked up from all the steroids,
He
man.
has to. Well, all right. Well, this all sounds like conjecture. Let's just go ahead. Let's roll the first clip out. And that way, you understand what we're talking about. We're not just like saying a
Yeah,
bunch
man.
of shit. All right.
Drop that
So
shit, son.
yeah, what was it?
Amy, pull it up.
All right, let's see this one. There we go. And
With me, the nice part. I went through it. Now they say I'm immune. I feel so powerful. I'll walk into that audience. I'll walk in there. I'll kiss everyone in that audience. I'll kiss the guys and the beautiful women and everybody. I'll just give you a big fat kiss.
I want to
No,
kiss
but
them
they're
all.
with me, the nice part.
yeah, so there's Trump going about his Trump ways. You know, he
It's very,
yeah. Well, I
very
mean,
Trumpian.
you very. I mean, there's a little. I think it sounded like he caught himself there because he talked about kissing a bunch of dudes, which
He
is
was all
weird.
into it, man.
He was really into. It's like when you just realize you're way too high,
I
and
don't think. Did you think that? I didn't notice that. Do you think he felt? Because
I
I
thought
feel
it
like
was
he
just
doesn't.
flying. This dude had to have been like on so much speed or uppers. It's like I'm gonna
Yeah.
kiss everybody. I'm gonna kiss you. I'm gonna kiss the baby. I'm gonna kiss the dog. I don't care. Line up. I'll kiss you. Like what the? I don't. Well, you did want me
He
to
doesn't
share.
really care about like. He can say stuff like that, right? Like he
Yeah.
is like. It's kind of like the. What's that? The legal theory that Bill Barr is where the president can do no wrong.
Right.
Like that's the mentality. So that if he says something that sounds like super gay, like it doesn't, it's not, it doesn't, they'll justify it, right? There's a
Right.
reason for why it sounds super gay.
Hmm.
Like, I thought it was a strong message, coming out in, support of bisexual awareness, visibility.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if that's what he's doing there, I mean, I guess I have to come down in favor of his bisexuality. But you did want me to go ahead and play that clip that was circling around, right?
Yeah, I
That,
need to see the rest of the clips because I'm sure he had some great stuff in there. But
well, this is that
um,
one that you said from that was Aqua Teen, right?
yeah, well, I just play the clip.
Yeah.
With me, the nice part. I went through it. Now they say I'm immune. I feel
It's
so
so funny.
powerful. I'll walk into that audience. I'll walk in there. I'll kiss everyone in that audience. I'll kiss the guys and the beautiful women and everybody. I'll just give you a big fat kiss. No, but with me, the nice part. I
Yeah.
went through it. Now they say I'm immune.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you need to watch Aquatine. It's the funniest show.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen the show. I mean, I didn't have to think that was kind of funny, at least, but
That's 100% something that Master Shake would say. Like he's like he's very like he's very chuddy, right? Like there's
okay.
4 characters on the show, right? And 2 of them are very chud like, and the other 2 are like very liberal, like or liberal seeming.
Uh-huh.
Like one guy's like a scientist, and the other guy's like a stupid baby, and they're the liberal ones. And then Carl, the next door neighbor, is total like like North Jersey scumbag, like like I don't know if he's Italian or not. I think he might be. I forget, but he's very Sopranos-y.
Uh-huh.
And then Master Shake is kind of confusing. He's a very very deep character. Lots of layers to him. He's just loves himself, and I mean I can't
narcissistic.
like, yeah, but let's see. We should play a clip of Master Shake.
Let's see. Bookmark that for me. I'll pull it up.
Mm,
All right. Well,
that's
while
like
we're
probably my I mean, it's definitely my favorite like animated show. My dog was named after him.
really,
Yeah, he the neighbor. They have a. I mean, just this. I can't really explain the jokes. The jokes are really hard to explain, but here's one: Best of Master Shake.
there you go. Send it. Yeah, you got it to me.
Check this shit out. I don't know if it's gonna be like. Okay. It's 5 minutes.
All right. Well, we can play part of it. You send it.
Yeah. I don't know how great of content this is.
Well.
Oh wait a minute, I'm logged in on the show account, so there you go.
Oh yeah, there we go. You just gotta put that there. All right, there we go.
I logged in on the show account to go like all my personal account tweets.
We get accused of that, or we've been accused of that, and I assume that would be like the thought that we just go back and, just like all our own shit, I guess. But
No, yeah, that one guy that fucking shot I was arguing
right,
with,
yeah.
and it wasn't me. Like I usually don't do that.
I really,
Except
I mean,
I only do
most
that
of
when
the
I think
time
I have a
won't.
really good tweet.
No, I like for the most part, if it's you and I see something, I'll like it just because I think it's
I
good.
like everything that doesn't annoy me. Like I only don't like stuff if it aggravates me.
Right. Okay, so let's do this. Best of Master Shake, since
This is the theme song, right? I mean, no context. It's not going to be. I can't. I should turn it on too. What second are you at?
let me see where I'm at. Oh crap.
Transylvania.
Yeah.
What second are you at?
I'm trying to get it. 50 seconds.
Okay. Can't quite get there. Oh, there's Boxy Brown. Okay. That's Boxy Brown. Shake's Meatwad's imaginary friend. Mm. Little brittle.
Oh, okay. Uh, all right, bro. All right. Well, yeah. I
Can
mean,
we watch the whole thing?
uh,
Like,
I
is that
think
do you
we
get in
should.
trouble for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll probably get in trouble already for that, but we should
I
kind
mean,
of just
people do
move.
shows where they just watch other shows, don't
Yeah,
they? I
they do,
mean, it's
but
on YouTube. I guess it's not the official account.
yeah, I guess not. But yeah, I mean, look, the point
If you
is,
put your content on the internet for free,
yeah,
anybody should be able to use it, right?
yeah, I mean, I think so. But I mean, look, for the what we're talking about, we got a little sidetracked with Aquatine, I guess. But Trump, since he's come back, I think he's been a little bit more.
Yeah, he's trying too hard, isn't he?
Is that?
He's
I
just
mean, I don't
trying.
know if he's trying too hard or if he's really just unhinged from the drugs or some kind
I
of
think he's good
thing.
at holding his shit, man. I think he's like
But
he
you
was
don't
high
think
that
that
first couple
shit had
days,
to?
but he's
Uh,
he's been better at like holding it together, man. He's a night like an addict, dude. He like knows how to get fucked up and like keep it cool.
well, okay, so let's go. I mean, because one of the other things, and we're just gonna talk about it briefly, um, was Trump over here. Apparently, there was a plan where he was gonna rip open his
That's
shirt
so
like Superman after he got back from Walter Reed. So
yeah that
yeah, he was gonna be like this whole thing. Um,
yeah that
I'm sure he wasn't
would have
the
been
only
tight.
one that ever tried this.
That would have been tight, man. He needs to do
Um,
more theatrics. That's what I'm saying. He's trying really hard. Like he wants to do something big that he hasn't done before, you know? Like he's trying to like
yeah,
try out new material, but like it's just that every time he does, it's like
yeah. I
extra
mean, he has
fascist,
to
you know?
be. I
Like
I mean, I don't know how high you have to be to can think that doing something like this
what
is
do you
a.
mean? That's a good idea,
It
dude.
is a terrible idea, bro.
Why do you
Why is
think
he
it's a
gonna
terrible
do?
idea? The
That's an
fucking chuds would
awful
love
idea.
that.
Okay, the Chudge would love that. Anybody not in Chudville would think this dude
That's
lost
the
his
only
fucking
person he
mind.
talks to. He thinks everybody's like a chud, and if they're not, like it's because they're lame and they're like, low T
Yeah, I mean, look what
betas.
it says here. President Trump
Very
considers
low
staging
T.
his own Clark Kent moment as he exited from last week's Walter Reed National Military Center Medical Center by ripping open a button-down shirt to reveal a Superman T-shirt. Yeah, I can't with this
Very
dude.
low T beta, Mr. Trump.
Yeah, bro, I can't with this shit. But like, and then he has been up on Fox News, and we did put that in the title before. But he apparently he got quite. I know a couple of the interviews he seems off. I mean, he seemed sick
He did, like I
before.
said, at first he did. The first day
Yeah,
or two, he seemed like really like fucking wasted. Like,
right.
um, but I feel like when I've heard him since then, he's been pretty good at holding it together, man. I'm
Well,
telling you.
okay, so this story, he came on Fox News, so we can get like a pretty decent evaluation. He gets to talk for a solid minute here, so
Are you gonna
um,
do the UFO thing?
yeah, we'll let him do the UFO
I
thing.
think this is bullshit. Like I said, he's trying to do big things, right? Like,
Hold on, let me play it.
A UFO task force. Here's what I've got from The Guardian. The U.S. Department of Defense has formed a new body to investigate what it calls unidentified aerial phenomena, to monitor reported sightings of what most people call UFOs. Mr. President, as we wrap up here, are there UFOs?
Well, I'm going to have to check on that. I mean, I've heard that. I heard that 2 days ago, so I'll check on that. I'll take a good, strong look at that. But I will tell you this. We now have created a military, the likes of which we've never had before, in terms of equipment, the equipment that we have, the weapons that we have, and hopefully, hope to God, we never have to use them. But we have created a military, the likes of which nobody has ever had. Russia, China, they're all envious of what we've had, all built in the USA. We've rebuilt it $2.5 trillion. As far as the other question, I'll check on it. I heard about it 2 days ago, actually.
Okay, so there was the UFO clip, which
I mean,
I
like I
mean,
said,
he sound actually considering. I think he sounded surprisingly measured there because he indulged it more than I think most presidents do in a non-ironic way. But on the other hand, too, I mean, he did a real smart thing, which was like kind of pivot away and start talking about the military as opposed to UFOs.
yeah, he has looked into this. He's tried to do this. He wanted to do this, I'm sure, but they won't let him, or there's nothing there.
Well, what do you think it
said,
is?
do you think the kind of guy he is, right? He would definitely want to do something. He would have no moral dilemma about doing it, right? Like any of the reasons they talk about, like, oh, it's too much, it'll break their brains, the people can't handle it, or it's too depressing and scary, the people can't handle it.
Right.
All the excuses that the theorists, the conspiracy guys think they say about it, right?
I mean,
so like, if he had the opportunity to, he would 100% release whatever he had.
So
I don't think he's got anything. Like I said, it's one of those two.
yeah.
I don't know which one it is.
I mean, yeah, I'm inclined to think that if any president would actually prioritize getting some UFO information out to the public, it would have been Trump.
Yeah. He's a TV host, man. Like,
you know,
he's trying to get ratings.
If he had anything, I mean, look at how easy it was to go and release a bunch of documents about some bullshit that with the whole spying on his campaign and all that crap. But I mean, if that's the case, and he actually doesn't have anything, then who's the people that do have something, and why are they able to keep it even from the president and not release anything? I mean, are you talking about
no? I'm
like
saying
deep
this
state,
compartmentalized? And yeah, I mean, the real deep state. Like I think the president doesn't have. I don't think he has access to everything. This stuff's classified.
Yeah.
So yeah, he would have to be read into it, and if they don't want to read him in, they don't have to.
Well, I mean, he would have the authority, even if it's classified, to declassify something, won't he? Or
I don't think he gets to do that unilaterally. I think it's set up in such a way that they can keep stuff from the president. Like, I think the president doesn't automatically get access to everything, right? Like, I mean, there's stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you were president one day, did we get a comment? Yeah, no comments right now. It'll pop up. But I mean, if you were president, would you want to be informed about that? Like, you know, all these long-standing conspiracy theories that the government is alleged to have pulled off. Not the false flags so much, because we know those have merit, but in terms of, you know, JFK, that kind of stuff, the UFO thing.
Yeah, he
Bob
tried
Lazar,
to do that too.
David, you know,
what happened with the JFK? He didn't even release all the JFK files. So again, either he doesn't know, they wouldn't tell him.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's nothing there, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm inclined to think with the UFO thing, at least, that there is something there, you know, but...
Well, then why isn't he releasing it then?
Well, I think it's more like what you said the first time, where everything's kind of compartmentalized, and maybe he doesn't have a unilateral authority to just access whatever information that he has. Okay, so that's one side of the presidential race. But we should check on the other. How do you think Mr. Biden is doing, Matt?
Fucking fantastic.
Well, here we go. You can see that, Matt. Today, I'm a proud Democrat for Senate.
Yeah, he ran for Senate like his whole life, so that's what he just defaults to, right? Like he just goes back to like his his heyday.
Yeah, that was. Well, yeah, that was pretty clear cut about what he said, though. I mean, do you chalk this up to melting brain syndrome, or is that just a misspeak?
I don't think that's the same thing. Like, I didn't hear it actually because I'm over here, but like he it's let me watch it. Hold on.
Yeah, it's just a short
I
clip.
just was um hold on, sorry. Um um let's see. What's it under? What does he say?
That he's a proud Democrat for the Senate.
I mean, like I said, I don't really like stuff like that. Eh. Yeah, that's just, I think his brain's melted. I mean, not that. That's not why though. I mean, I think that's acceptable. Like old people do that all the time. Like I do that sometimes. You know, like not
Okay.
like that. Like and as often as he does, but like, you know, he doesn't know he's doing it, and he's just like befuddled all the time. Like they have to like lead him around. He's so frail and he's just obviously not there, man. Not to mention the stuff that he does, like when you challenge him, you know, like that's how it's documented. Like they know that the symptoms, right? And that's
Right.
one of them is like getting confrontational. He's definitely got. I think anybody who disagrees with that is just, you know, that's just cope, right?
Mhm.
Like he is 100%. His brain is leaking out of his ears, and I don't know what they're gonna do because the president has so much power now, and like if you watch like movies and TV, it seems like they you know get in real life. We've seen that now too. They have a lot of day-to-day power. Like they make decisions every single day that affect the business of the government. You know,
Yes.
and I don't know who's going to be making those decisions, but like we've just been consolidating power in the presidencies for, you know, the past 30 years, and now they basically run the country and the world by themselves. And
Right.
now this befuddled old man is going to have to figure shit out. Like that was why I was against voting for Biden. It's just like the you know, Trump is just like full fash, you know, like I don't what else to say? Like it's
Yeah,
like
this
you
dude
either
with,
have a
with a melting
befuddled.
brain. Well, I mean, on
Well, it's
that
like two
note,
brands of fascism. Like, you know, one of them is like a kinder, softer fascism, I guess. Like, you know, Joe Biden's not going to change any of the policies, right? He's just going to do like what they do. He's just going to take over and continue running the country as
so
Trump was running it. So,
well,
you know,
I found somebody that I think pretty prominent that shares at least part of your ideas about what's going on with Biden and Ben Shapiro. So, here we see in his tweet here how he characterizes Biden as a comatose 78-year-old career politician plagued by incoherence and logorrhea, which I assume is
didn't we look at this the other night?
loquaciousness. I'm not sure if we did,
I feel
but
like we already looked at this too.
I mean, what do you get? What do you think here when you start seeing Shapiro come out against Trump a little bit? I mean, do you think that
He's not really coming out against them.
well, I mean, he's kind of he's putting the criticism more on Trump is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
It's reality. It's like you
Well,
can't.
yeah, but I
The
mean,
thing is,
the
so much
right
of their
wing.
content is like, even like Ben Shapiro, it's like he doesn't tell the truth about anything ever, you know?
Yeah, so I mean, for him to actually go and say that if he loses, it's Trump's fault, I think.
And like the way he does it though, it's like he tells the truth about stuff in such a way where he's like technically right. He
Yeah.
just does it in such a way where it's like he's only emphasizing one thing or he's leaving out something else. Like, you know, crap like that. Like when he talks about like California's problems, it's always like just in isolation specific things that bother him and not like a broader
Right.
picture of it.
No,
So
but I mean, like, if
they must get frustrated.
what I
Right?
was
Like
gonna,
we're
well,
seeing with Tim Pool, man. Like I want to talk
yeah.
about that story next, man. That
All right,
guy's
yeah.
fucking
Well,
off his rocker.
guess we after
But
this we
like,
could, you know what? Let's talk about Kamala first, and then we'll go bounce it back to Tim Pool. But what I
well,
was
we're
gonna,
talking about Ben Shapiro. We might as well go right into the other Chud
okay,
pundits.
all right, we'll go to talk about
Do
Tim
Chud
Pool
pundit
first.
hour.
Chud Pundit
Um,
Hour. Sorry, everybody, if you're not into Chud Pundits, you're gonna get your dose of Chud Punditry. But the thing I was gonna say is that you don't see that. I mean, these guys are smart enough to see that the writing's kind of on the wall with Trump, right? I mean, you don't think that there's anything to them laying some kind of groundwork for post-Trump
not someone
politics.
like Ben Shapiro.
See, he's
Other
not
people,
worried about anything post-Trump at
politicians,
this point.
Ben Shapiro can't like change his brand. You know, like
Yeah.
he can't swap sides. He can't like ingratiate himself to the Democrats. He can't do anything like that. Like he can only do that, like what he just did. You know, like there's no avenue for him. But I feel like that's more a product of him just being frustrated. Like,
Well, because I mean, he figures that Trump's about to lose.
it's also he's trying to swipe at Biden too. You know. Like,
Yeah, I mean, of course he is.
I don't see that as like. I mean, that's kind of a stretch to call that like.
Yeah.
You know. He's still Trump's boy. Trump loves that shit, man. He probably loves Shapiro. Like,
Well, okay, since you wanted to go and talk about Tim Pool, let's go about this. So why don't you set it up? So where did all this come from?
no, this motherfucker is been just for years talking about like, oh, the left wants to have a civil war and they're so radical and I can't deal with how radical they are. Like they're scary. They're gonna start a war, and he has been just ramping it up, obviously, and he keeps denying it. And then these Tim Pool Clips guys, went through and like analyzed his sources and just found that it's like something like I don't want to get it wrong, but a ton of his material, you know, features Civil War narratives about radical leftists,
Right.
And he tries to play like that Dave Rubin, like, you know, fucking whatever, and it's just, I mean, he's
Well,
unhinged. Play the
so-
clip, man. I'm like,
all right, let's go for the clip first, and then we can talk about this after. So
he's the most popular YouTuber, period, right? Like, the most popular political YouTuber.
They never will. They'll never stop coming. They will take your job away. They will come for your parents. You will do something wrong, they'll fire your mom. They'll come to your house with fireworks and guns, and Americans will still just say, please, just leave me alone. And that's how it is. Even in the Revolutionary War, most people, the largest majority of people, were non-initiated. There was a small faction saying no revolution, there was a larger faction saying revolution, and the bulk said, please just leave me alone. So long as we've been dealing with the psychotic cancel culture. Well, where are you to stand up at your job and tell your boss to shut up when he says, I'm going to put out this bland brand message that panders to these woke lunatics? Where are you to say, if you do that, I quit? They say, fine, quit. Okay, I will, and I'll go start my own company. Nowhere to be found. Completely right. But at least I quit my job when I worked for Disney, and they said, lie to the public. I said, fuck you. And I told them, cut my contract off. And they said, no. Welcome to the golden handcuffs, Tim. You got one more year under lock and key. And then I said, okay, well, I'm not going to do what you want. And then finally it came to August, and I said, bye-bye, I'm going to go do my own thing. And guess what? It worked. So where the fuck is everybody?
Oy, yeah. Oh man. You want to play the other Tim Pool thing?
well, that's just a thread about where he gets his sources from. If you want to
All
pull
right.
it up.
Yeah, let's pull it up here. All right. So, Tim Pool, where does he do his research? Thread. So, over the past 2 months, we watched over 330 Tim Pool videos, collected a list of every source he's used and his political bias. So, here's what we found. Right here.
Go down to this one right here that shows.
Oh, what's this one say for? 330 of his videos, he uses pro right-wing bias sources almost 60% of the time, when commonly used source being the Daily Mail, a source so unreliable that controversial that Wikipedia doesn't allow it as a reference.
The Daily Mail, New York, Fox News, New York Times, and Andy No tweets, and the New York Post. Those are his top 5 sources.
Yeah, so it says least biased. 10% is the least biased, so he uses 59% right-wing sources. And then, okay, so these are additionally 330 videos across analyzed Temple's top 10 sources, including 6 that have pro-right-wing bias, including Breitbart's source. Breitbart's a source adjudged to be extreme right by independent service we use to determine source bias. So here we go. Daily Mail.
And he had the Proud Boys guy on tonight.
Yeah,
right.
They're the leader of the Proud Boys, right? And so
he claimed he was trying to get left wingers on the show, right?
Well, that was what we were gonna talk about right now, because Hassan, he went ahead and commented about that. So let's see here. There we go. Temple sources. So he actually used the Washington Post a couple times. But if you can see from the graph, I mean, it's not close here. He has 96 sources from the Daily Mail. And, yeah, I mean, it's the Times, I guess, is like I guess they consider a left-leaning publication. But, I mean, far and away, he gets all the stuff for his stories in one place, too. And what's this one?
Let me go back and look at the rest of the account.
Which one?
I mean, that Tim Pool clips.
What do you want me to pull up?
It looks on here.
Oh, here we go. Wait a minute. This is despite his claims of being center left, Tim Pool did not use a single source from an extreme left publication in the 330 videos analyzed. However, 5% of his sources have an extreme right bias, including Breitbart, which is his 6th most used source. So, in other words, nothing on this pie for the extreme left. A few for center left, a few for left, and 5% for extreme right wing. But most of it is all just right wing stuff.
Yeah, he can't really get away with using Breitbart for everything.
Yeah, I think it becomes obvious at some point or another. But, I mean, he was you seemed pretty nuts in that clip that we saw. I mean, just straight up, he did. But
I don't know if he...
But what happened here, you were saying that Tim Pool put out like an open challenge to every leftist out there?
No, he didn't even do that. He like posted some shit like, oh, all the, I can't get any left wingers on the show, like, and
then what happened?
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to look and see if Sam Cedar followed up with him, because he had responded to it. He was like, I'll go on your show. Here it is. Invitation accepted. How's Monday at 6? And then they went back and forth. And I don't know. It looks like he had the Proud Boys guy on tonight. So, not Sam. Even though I think he said I can do the 13th. But he wanted him to fly out, to go do it in person.
Okay, which is
anyway,
stupid.
He wasn't really trying to do it. He was just doing it so he could, like, back out, or not back out, so he could use the COVID shit as an excuse to, like, pretend that he, saved face, right? Because he would never in a million years, I mean, I can't imagine him sitting down in a room with Sam. He would destroy him.
Yeah, and okay, this was interesting, though, because I did read some of the comments here. Timcast, as I said in the DMs, I'd love to chat, but I'm not willing to fly across the country. You said you were looking into setting up a remote pod opportunity, unless I'm confused by this. So he.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so he said I was hard to book leftists for my podcast. I immediately was bombarded with leftists calling me out as a liar and throwing names at me. A few people publicly said they'd go on my show and respond, and privately messaged me saying they wouldn't. So Never done a remote and then I guess he claimed that he never did remote interviews, and then there's one right under here where you can see him talking to Cedar.
I think that is silly.
Yeah.
To be honest.
That was where he said the Thanos shit.
I respect it, but they're very strong philosophical positions held by most people.
I believe that less suffering is better, and that I am willing to.
I will tell you something you won't like to hear, though.
I'm willing to sully myself if that's the outcome.
But I'll tell you something you're not going to want to hear, and I admit it's I'll call it dickish. Utilitarianism is typically the villain in most movies.
Oh.
What did he say?
Utilitarianism is
here it is.
Yeah, utilitarianism is the villain in most movies. It was his answer to C. But here you go. You saw like Pac-Man here commented underneath too. Let's see if I can get this thing back. All right, yeah. Hassana, looks like you've heard about the pandemic. And then let's see, Jeff Waldorf, here you go. He's under here commenting. Come on, dude. Recording a Skype or Discord call is an impossible technological barrier. He's not set up for it. It's true. That's why I blew off interviewing Hassan's Uncle Janky. Oh, wait. I mean, look, it's not. If he wanted to have leftists on, there's a bunch, I'm sure, that would like to go and embarrass him.
Every single one responded.
Exactly. They all responded. He claimed that they went in the DMs and say they weren't interested, which I don't buy. Nobody's scared of Tim Pool. And
he's such a moron, dude.
Yeah, I mean, he gets a lot of circulation in our feed for some reason, though. Like, I actually had to go and... Well, I had to mute him. Because I'm not interested in seeing his bullshit.
He gets 55 million views on YouTube a month.
Are you serious?
I think is the number.
So you're
He's
telling
the most
me...
popular political commentator on YouTube.
So, wait a minute. Of all of them, left and right, Tim Pool.
Yeah. Yes. More than anybody. More than, like, CNN. More than everybody.
How?
I
mean, okay, so you're more than
he
Shapiro.
Tells them what they want to hear, and he says it like he has this character where he's like a disaffected liberal, and he tells Chuds what they want to hear. He says,
"Well, I mean, that seems like Dave Rubin's shtick."
He gets him. Rubin sucks at it though. Like, he's not good at it. Like Rubin's a fucking
okay.
Moron.
That makes so much sense, though.
I think he's a believer now. I think he like started off as like
playing the character.
Like, yeah, and I feel like just he's because apparently he used to be cool. Like he was at Occupy, and he was like an independent journalist, and then I don't know.
So he actually was a journalist at one point.
Yeah, he's still a journalist, man. He does he like. He has like TV channels and he puts out tons of videos. Like he works hard, I'm sure.
No, I'm taking a shot at him by saying
psycho.
I was just taking a shot at him, bro. Like, yeah, he's still a journalist. But anyway,
and I would like to know if he's, a true believer or if it's all still an act. Because like he gets, you saw that clip, man. He was fired up, right? Did that look like an act to you?
I mean, it easily could be an act.
You think that was an act?
Yeah, I don't really.
You look scared, man. He's freaking out. It's like, he's responsible for so much of the psycho shit over there. Well, like on the far right, because he gets them all nervous. He like tells them like.
Well, I mean, a lot of that shit that's what he was saying in that clip, and I mean, if you believe the guy, you trust the guy to give you information. You might freak out over what he's saying.
Who the fuck says that? Who says that? Like they're gonna come for you. Who the fuck says that?
Yeah, they're gonna fire you from. They're gonna fire you from your job, and they're gonna. Mom. Yeah, they're gonna fire your mom. They're gonna slap your mother like a. I mean, what the? Well, so since we're talking about one grifter, I guess we could talk about another dude that went ahead and pissed you off here. Jake. Anbinder? Is that the way you say his name? I'm not sure. Here he is.
Set it up for that though.
Let's talk about. I'm just gonna.
Joy Gray.
Well, we're just gonna we're just gonna touch on this for a little bit because you had a pretty strong response here.
You have to set it up though. The guy is subtweeting them. You know,
But this
he
is
was on the show.
right. I'll
They
go back to
argued
the clip.
Chomsky,
I'll go
and
back
then
to the
this
clip, but I
fucking-
just wanted to go in. Okay, so first of all, there was that tweet with in which my boy here responded, "There's no universe in which this guy isn't an asshole." But this was following the Chomsky and the Briahna Joy Gray debate, and it seems like anytime Briahna goes out there against the libs, she catches a particular kind of ire from the libs. And well, Chomsky, let's be honest, like he's a pretty well-respected leftist figure. He's decided that voting for Biden is the right move strategically.
He's been saying that his whole life. He always says that. He says the Republican is an existential threat to humanity.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah. You got to vote for him. It's the end of the world. I mean, he might actually be right this time because, like I said, Trump will do anything. He doesn't really fucking care.
So, yeah. So this was on Bad Faith Pod. So hopefully we don't get like struck with something for this. But well, you were worried about that. But me and Briahna Joy argue with Noam Chomsky for an hour on the latest episode of Bad Faith Pod. We won the argument. They won.
He did.
Well,
I'm that old man.
So I mean, where did you stand
Here,
on Chomsky?
Play the clip.
Then?
I'll start it at the right time.
All right, ready? Yeah, we're gonna start it.
1, 2, 3, go.
Do you want your grandchildren?
You're not at the beginning.
Yeah.
I think the people you're talking to say yes.
Here,
I
try it
want
again.
my grandchildren to survive. Now we have a simple question.
Oh, this
Do you
must be a
want your
different clip.
grandchildren to
Yeah.
survive? I think the people
let me
you're
find
talking
that one.
to say yes. I want my grandchildren to survive.
So many people's grandchildren are already
Telling
not
you.
surviving.
Yes,
That's
and
the issue.
You want to ensure that they'll live underwater or have a chance to survive.
So many people
Which one is it? Thank you, Chairman Chomsky. That one.
or they're unhomed.
Then as
Or-
an activist, your goal is to get them to think about it. Because that is
Which
what
one is
is
it?
at stake.
Huh.
What's it like at 0 seconds?
Well, I mean, it's just a short clip there. About the grandchildren. Do you want your grandchildren to survive?
No, not that. Let's see. Scroll down. Look at the one that starts with Virgil's face on the screen. I haven't seen that one yet. I'm gonna watch it.
All right. Was that under the same thing?
Yeah, it's on Virgil's feed.
I didn't catch it. Or is it? Okay.
12 hours ago.
12 hours ago. Yeah, just send it. Just put it in the DM so I can pull it up. Cause
So you don't think Tim Pool's gonna debate anybody?
I mean, just from looking at what happened with Cedar, it just looks like he'd be out to embarrass himself. Yeah, I don't see the clip.
I just sent it to you.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
We can watch
Oh,
all
here
of
we
it.
go. Here we go. All right.
There's a longer one with Briahna too. We can watch that one.
All right. Let's go with this one.
We can watch all their clips. Yeah, we need to. I need to sub to this.
Then isn't the real fight against those institutions instead
Did you
of
start it?
one that maybe
Yeah.
gets us over the hump in 30 years?
All right. Hold on. 17 seconds. All right. Ready?
Where are you?
17 seconds.
Okay, go.
If it were possible to lobby those in power through activism, some kind of brokering, those who are beholden to the profit motive, even if it destroys the environment.
We have maybe a decade or two to deal with the environmental crisis. Is there the remotest chance that within a decade or two we'll overthrow capitalism? It's not even a dream, okay? So the point that you're raising is basically irrelevant. Of course, let's work to try to
based.
overthrow capitalism. It's not going to happen like that. There's a lot of work involved. Meanwhile, we have an imminent question. Are we going to preserve the possibility for organized human society to survive? Are we going to preserve the possibility for us to work to overthrow capitalist institutions? Or are we going to say, it's hopeless, let's quit? I prefer the first. You're calling for the second.
Well.
Whoa. Shit, bro.
Well, I mean, it seems like his
let's
point
watch this
there.
other one.
All right.
See what he...
All right. So it's in that same. You sent it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's do this.
Do you think Virgil's telling the truth?
With what?
That they won?
I don't know. I mean, Chomsky. I mean, he's a smart. I mean, of course, he's a brilliant guy. But I think from the first clip that I saw, I think Briahna made a better point. But let's play this one then. Ready?
I just don't know how.
All right.
I mean,
What are the long-term consequences of
Ready?
everybody on the broad left, Democrats, liberals, everyone, saying that under any circumstances we will vote for a Democratic candidate as long as they are incrementally better than the Republican candidate? Does that way of thinking contribute to the rightward shift of the Democratic Party over years? And what mechanism will ever stop that shift if we're not willing to ever, under any circumstances, leverage our votes?
What you're saying, if you think it through, is you should help Trump win, because maybe in the long run, that'll affect the Democratic Party. That's a terrible choice. Helping Trump win, as you're supposed
that's not what she's saying at all.
I mean, 4 more years of destruction of the environment, getting possibly to tipping points at which would be irreversible, certainly making any effort to deal with it very difficult. It would mean stacking the judiciary with young, ultra-right lawyers, top to bottom, so that nothing would be possibly done for generations, and I can go on. I don't think that's a wise choice, just on the hope that maybe sometime in the long term, the Democratic Party will pay attention to the fact that you're party of 50% of non-voters.
I take the multi-generational threat very seriously. As a Black American whose family members have been living as a third tier in American society. My mother was born into an America that didn't recognize her basic human rights. In 1960, she's a relatively young woman. And so what concerns me is the way in which the vote blue no matter who mindset basically privileges more recent concerns that are equally grave as more long-standing concerns that are built in the status quo, and says we have to vote for X candidate to prevent X ill from happening. At the same time, those who have suffered under the status quo never seem to get an opportunity to have their issues heard.
Well,
I mean, I think that's what
I still fall into the
Chomsky
category.
didn't respond to her, though.
Mm-hmm.
Were you saying you still fall into?
Well, no, I still fall into the category what Bree's saying, because if you're not ever withholding your vote, if you don't show them that they have to come and get you or do something for you, they're never gonna do it. It's not in their interest to do it. It's not anywhere close into their interest to do it. Their interests are aligned with capital. They're aligned with corporate entities, and as long as they can get your vote and still serve those interests for their donors, then what are they? Why would they? There's no incentive to do anything else.
Yeah, Chomsky's just looking at it from that narrow frame. It's like, it's the way he phrased it, that you're part of the 50% of non-voters.
Yeah,
like,
it seems a little dismissive.
Well, no, he's right though. It's like they don't care. It's like if there's 5% of the electorate who's like maybe not even 5, whatever, like the activist left,
Right.
who's not going to vote for Biden, like however many that is. Like, I don't think they care enough. They obviously don't care enough to come get your vote, right? They're not going to change, like you said, their interests are aligned with capital. They're not going to change because the left is mad at them, right? Like,
No.
unless you're, like, if Bernie had, done some shit, when he was dropping out, that would have been one thing. But just individually, it makes no sense to try to, like, leverage that. Like, they don't care, right? If you could muster, a few million votes in swing states or something, then, they would probably be a little bit at least willing to negotiate, right? But I don't know.
But, just throwing down and pledging your fealty every cycle.
No, like I said, you just don't fucking say anything, right? Just don't bother with it. Like, you might vote for Joe Biden, you might not. It's just like Crispin says, man, grill pill. Like,
well,
don't worry about it.
Well, I think well, personally, I'm looking forward to your rant against this guy since he seems to have felt very strongly about this tweet here. So all you need to know about Bernie's former national press secretary arguing with Chomsky on a podcast is there is a universe where Bernie, having chosen a different press secretary, is about to win a presidential election. Which psychotic. Is such a bullshit line, man.
It's
okay,
even
so
if it was
Bernie's
true,
Bernie's press secretary is the reason the campaign didn't succeed because she was just too far out there. Like, imagine meaning that. I mean,
he's going for hot Twitter takes, right?
I mean, I suppose that's what it is.
Like, he's trying to say, like, this, blah, 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 like, definitely would happen, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I've said this all along. Anybody who says they know why Bernie lost is full of shit, right? Like, because I said last night about the other thing, it's like, everything is everything. There's a ton of different issues. There's not one thing, and, like, they all add up. But the main issue was that they were never going to let him win, right?
They all joined up.
In 2016, he freaked him out, right? So they made sure that wouldn't happen this year.
Yeah, and they all joined up, and then they had Warren stay in just to weaken his vote.
It was so staged, all
of it. Of course it was. So, I mean...
Leaving Warren in was the telltale, right? Because that's what did it. Like, her staying in the race is what cost it to him. Like, full stop. Trump says it, Trump's right. Like...
Yeah, well...
And everybody else drop out except her.
Yeah, so the libs, of course, this is a tweet that I want to say. I mean, there's plenty of them, but I just wanted to go into and save one.
Well, these assholes all think that they can talk down to Briahna and shit, and it's like, who the fuck are you to think you know anything about any of this shit? Like, it's just they all feel like it's like she's like their they're like Jonathan Chait or something, right? Like someone that you just like dunk on or like more like Iglesias, someone like that people just like dunk on mercilessly.
Well,
all the time.
This tweet was just vote Bernie in the primary. Liberals, fuck Noam Chomsky. Noam Chomsky, vote for Biden in the general. Listen to Noam Chomsky, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another one though, because it is true. I mean, they've of course what you're saying about Briahna is 100% true, and it should have been more of a point made about what her and Nina Turner both had to deal through at the hands of libs, and if you would have seen the feeds about Chomsky at that time. When he's supporting Bernie, it wasn't much better. It's not like they were championing Chomsky at that point before he just told all the left to go ahead and support Biden. And now that they find out the left is not of a groupthink and doesn't just do what our leaders in the progressive wing of the country say, then they have a problem with it. And they're like, why aren't you listening and falling behind your leaders? That's what we do.
Yeah. It's like, the more you think about it, the more like, worthless the online chatter really is in the grand scheme of, like, I think in the primary it was a little different because the electorate was a lot smaller. It was like, people who were like, people who follow politics a lot, like, had more to do with it, like just the way, strategy was put the effort and that kind of thing. And now it's just kind of like there's, actual people in the swing states that they're fighting over, right? Like,
right.
That's the strategy. They just go after like a few million people in those districts and kind of, leave everything else up to let nature take its course.
Right.
So they don't fucking care about the online left now.
No.
But these people who are just, terminally online, like.
Well, speaking of online,
those issues.
The debate over here between Mitch McConnell and Amy McGrath.
Bloodbath McGrath.
Bloodbath McGrath.
Did she get him?
Well, I have a few clips over here that I'll go ahead and show everybody.
Tell me she got him.
Matt, if you want to go into the bookmarks, it's the top 3 one. There's the top 3 videos, but here we go.
Well, I give the president, the White House, and this Congress an F for its handling of coronavirus. Look, we have 213,000 Americans dead in 9 months. That's more Americans dead than World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Persian Gulf War, Iraq and Afghanistan wars combined. And Senator McConnell thinks we've done a good job. We have 5% of the world's population, 25% of the world's COVID cases. And we still have a mixed messages from this White House on... and Senator McConnell's job is to help America through this crisis right now in passing legislation to keep our economy afloat so that people can make ends meet. And instead of doing that, he is trying to ram through a Supreme Court nominee right now. Instead of negotiating,
she loves Trump so much.
All summer long to make that happen.
So, okay, so there's a couple things about Miss McGrath. The first thing that I find pretty hilarious is she was running Trump ads in Ohio and then talking about how horrible Trump is now in the debate.
I mean,
so
she was very measured in her criticism.
But I feel
she's sending mixed messages.
But then you're running ads for talking about being a Democrat and running ads for a Republican nominee for president.
Fucking crazy strategy. It's like they're so obsessed with thinking of Kentucky as a far right state. It's like they constantly try to do this. They try to win over the Republican voters by being shitty Republicans. They think that that's an acceptable strategy, and it's so crazy to watch them do it in a state like Kentucky where there's plenty of people who would be interested in like a populist campaign like Charles Booker was running.
Right.
Nobody fucking cares about the like neoliberal bullshit, like crappy version of the Republicans. No, why would you want that? They appeal to their material interest and they'll vote for you. They keep saying it loud and clear. Like every focus group, every time they look at it, it
doesn't really matter the state.
Talk about wages.
But yeah, and it doesn't really matter the state. It really doesn't.
Yeah, everywhere, exactly.
But I think her criticism against McConnell there was actually pretty strong. I just find it rich coming from her for supporting Trump anyway. But she said, this is the Senate Majority Leader, and his job is to go and pass a stimulus for Americans. And he's not going to. And look, we'll get into it right now. But regardless of what comes through and what Pelosi decides to accept or whatever it is, the Republicans aren't going to give the American people any money. They're not. They're going to turn into deficit hawks and say that we can't afford it.
It's absolutely insane that they're not spending money right now. It's like, I just don't understand what the Republicans think. Like, I understand what the Democrats think. Like, they don't want to give Trump a victory, right? They want to fuck him over until the until after the race.
Well, let's
right?
start with the hearing first. So there is a hearing now for
Senators, what are they thinking?
Coney Barrett here, and Klobuchar. You know, we remember her. She was running for president. Said in the hearing that I think this whole thing is a sham. Mike Lee, who has COVID positive, was there. Lindsey Graham was there with no mask. The Republicans are just playing right into their hypocrisy. I mean, they're being as hypocritical as ever, even more so. I mean, we were talking about less than a month out. They're trying to ram a Supreme Court pig down the throat of the American people. Yeah, I mean, it's and then on top of that, exposing themselves to a deadly virus and everybody else.
That's what they should say. They say you all are toxic. Like, you're not wearing masks. You're not doing any of the protocol. You're getting people sick. It's like the clinic at the White House. I saw some story on NPR. It was like the clinic at the Congress is like over full. They can't even take anymore. And on top of that, they're trying to ram through this judge when they haven't passed the stimulus. It's
right.
Like, if I was any of them, I would, every time I open my mouth on TV, I'd be saying, it's insane that the Republicans are trying to confirm a judge when we need a stimulus bill.
Right.
It's like,
and now, I wanted to play this clip from Lindsey Graham because I know you enjoy ripping on him. So I got this one from TYT. So let's do it.
You should play the one where McConnell laughs. That fucking chortle is so evil.
And they're right in this regard. Nobody's, I think, has ever been confirmed in an election year past July. The bottom line is Justice Ginsburg.
Is this one in the bookmarks?
Yeah. Oh wait, no, I don't think it is.
4 years, not 3. There's nothing unconstitutional about this process.
What's he talking about?
This is a vacancy that's occurred through a tragic loss of a great woman, and we're going to fill that vacancy with another great woman. The bottom line here is that the Senate is doing its duty constitutionally. And we can talk about history, but here's the history as I understand it. There's never been a situation where you had a president of one party in the Senate of another, where the nominee, the replacement was made in an election year. It's been over 140 years ago. All I can say is that I feel that we're doing this constitutionally. Our Democratic friends object to the process. I respect them all.
All right. So, Lindsey Graham, I know you can't hear it, so if you couldn't read the subtitles that I left out for you, they're trying to say that this is somehow different from Merrick Garland, and even though that there's a month a few weeks left until the election, like 2 weeks and a few months until, if you're including the lame duck, that they're completely justified in appointing a Supreme Court justice this late into Trump's term.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and they should be treating it as such. They shouldn't be showing up. They should refuse to show up.
Right, and I mean, I completely agree. I don't think that there's...
He's not even wearing a mask.
No, he wasn't wearing a mask at the hearing.
And he has COVID.
And he probably does have COVID. You know,
he does. He tested positive less than 2 weeks ago.
Which would Graham too? I didn't even notice.
No, Mike Lee.
Yeah, Mike Lee did. I wasn't
sorry.
sure if Lindsey Graham had, but I mean, what are they doing? Like, does anybody buy that this isn't hypocritical? That this isn't a worse version of what they did with Merrick Garland? I mean, we're talking about a centrist judge, but still.
Of course they know this, man. They're out of control, and the fact that they are doing nothing to mention, it's like the Democrats' messaging sucks, man. Like, I saw one thing from what's his face, Chris Murphy. I saw he had a thread about it, like the plan to destroy the ACA.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not even sure if this is strong enough, right? I guess. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I can't really say. I don't watch cable TV, so I don't know what the Democrats are saying on TV.
Well, I did want to bounce this back to another dude, another piece of work here. Senator Josh Hawley, who made a claim that by Kamala not going, that she was an anti-Catholic bigot. So here we go.
They've been dying to say that.
Their membership in Catholic fraternal organizations like the Knights of Columbus. And for those watching at home, that's right, you heard me correctly. Senator Harris and others on this committee have repeatedly questioned judicial nominees' fitness for office because of their membership in the Knights of Columbus. The ranking member, when you were last before this committee, Judge, for your initial confirmation hearings, the ranking member referred to your Catholic convictions as dogma, that's a quote, that lives loudly within you, picking up the very terminology of anti-Catholic bigotry current in this country a century ago. She wasn't alone. Other senators on this committee last time asked you if you were an Orthodox Catholic.
Is this one in the bookmarks?
One senator said she worried that you would be a Catholic judge if you were confirmed because of your religious beliefs. I guess as opposed to an American judge, as if you can't be both a devout Catholic and a loyal American citizen. And it's not just you, Judge. Other nominees who have come before this committee for years now have been asked by my Democrat colleagues over and over their views on
I need to watch this one.
afterlife, their views about their membership statements of Catholic organizations, about their membership in other Christian organizations, and all.
Well, yeah, the issue he brings up, I guess, to say that Kamala is anti-Catholic is their opposition to the Knights of Columbus.
What?
Yeah, there's some like the Knights of Columbus that was some kind of opposition that Kamala had vocalized against against
what the fuck is he talking about, man?
I mean, he's trying to say that it's a repeat pattern, that it's not just for Barrett.
Mad. Like, there's no, like, God, it's so phony.
I mean, it just is. I mean, the whole thing is a sham. I'm with, yeah.
This guy does that whole fake populist routine too. Like,
right.
He should be against this judge. Like, if he cared about any of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm just trying to read up a little bit about what exactly the whole thing behind Kamala's opposition with that group is. But if it's getting defended, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and on the limb and say that there's probably more to that than just being part of any kind of group. And regardless of any of that, they're
part of that weirdo group, man.
Well, I mean, like the other thing about it is this is the part of what we had talked about when we talk about religion, and we've done so like the last couple nights, is where the right likes to weaponize religion for political purposes.
This is what he cites as the proof that they've. He says, this is his tweet, the new Democratic line, we've never attacked Barrett's faith, but Feinstein called Barrett's faith dogma. Hirono said she worried Barrett would be a Catholic judge. Durbin questioned whether Barrett Orthodox Catholic. Harris, membership in Catholic org is disqualifying. Like, none of those things are attacks on the woman, let alone on her religion, right? Like, those are just normal words you use to describe a devout Catholic. Like, is there something compare to the kind of shit like the Sharia law stuff you hear from the judge?
Yeah, I would.
Right?
I think one of our favorite Congress people went ahead and chimed in about this. Ilhan Omar. Let's be clear about this. If a Muslim woman was nominated to the Supreme Court of the United States, you would see Republicans lose their absolute minds about her religious background. Sharia law would be trending right now. Miss me with the pearl clutching and all this righteous talk about religious freedom.
Yeah. It's a ridiculous take, even from the chuds. It's an absolutely shameless. Like, what? I just don't know who's buying that. I mean, I'm sure they have some people who are eating it up, but they don't really have to. It's just like they're talking about that, so they don't have to talk about her terrible record as a judge. Like, she's just, you can't discuss her legacy as a judge without talking about all of her terrible anti-worker stuff.
Yes,
like,
and
besides boss, I think I saw a stat like 75% of the time she sided with the bosses over the workers. You know.
And then from AOC, when politicians use faith as an excuse to pass and uphold laws that seize control of people's bodies but not guarantee them health care, feed the poor, shelter the homeless, or welcome the stranger, you have to wonder if it's really about faith at all. Yeah, and then there was this good here. There you go. Republican Christian values. I can't feed these people. It will destroy their incentive to better themselves. The teachings of Republican Jesus. Feed only those that look like us and pass the drug test. Do not give unto them aid, for their country is a shithole. Yeah, I would have too much fun with that. Do unto others before they do unto you. I mean, that's what we said before. The whole religion grift. I'll say it's grift. They don't care about the actual teachings unless they can figure out a way to manipulate them and use them politically. You know, they'll talk all they want about being pro-life, but when it comes to actually doing something right, taking an actual moral policy position when it comes to recognizing healthcare as a human right, they're not going to do that, even though that would probably be more in line with their faith than anything else.
Yeah, they don't fucking care. It's just a con.
Yep, exactly. Well, let's see. I think we can go to... we haven't covered this yet, but there was the whole stimulus thing, right? So the deal is... here we go. So this was the deal. I can pull this up. All right. So it's a $1.8 trillion package. This was the one sent by Trump back to Pelosi that she already rejected. So it would give $400 a week to 200 million plus unemployed, 4,400 to tens of millions of families, to many suffering pay cuts, airline, restaurant, hotel workers a shot to hold on, and $300 billion to struggling local governments. And this is the $1.8 trillion deal that Pelosi decided not to go with, right? And the reasons that she said was because the deal did not include anything for COVID testing and tracing, and there was a liability for businesses in there that if somebody gets sick at a restaurant, that they are absolved from being sued in that case. And for those reasons, Pelosi's not gonna go ahead and give Trump a win here. I think that really is the true motivation for not wanting to go ahead and get any kind of deal signed up.
What, you think Pelosi would do something based like that?
What, that she doesn't want to give Trump a win and then not the other?
No. If there's truly is a liability immunity for companies and stuff in there, like, I wonder if it's actually something she's trying to do, like protect workers.
I don't think that's
pretty legit.
I don't think that's why. And besides that, I don't even think that's the correct position to take when you have people that have only gotten a $1,200 stimulus check once. And at least that would do this, at least that would happen under this plan. And like a lot of people do need that money right now, and they've been waiting for it. I mean, the unemployment extension and everything else. And for two of these things, you're not going to want to pass.
I know, but like, if that's the kind of negotiation, it's like, if it was like immunity and then there was no, like, you could force your workers to work, like, you could force your workers to work even without any precautions and get away with it.
Yeah, I don't think
there could be something in there that's not you can't agree to.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't think
I don't know enough
there was
about it.
well, I mean, there was nothing really about saying that workers have to work under certain conditions and all that kind of stuff. If it's complete absolvement, regardless of the working conditions, and if you're compelling your workers to not wear masks and that kind of thing, then I can understand there being a little bit more of a problem with it. But if we're just talking about corporate immunity, I don't think Pelosi.
I don't know what they think, man.
Well, I don't think
What do
Pelosi would have a
judge
problem
think?
with doing that. I mean, you don't think she would rather
No.
protect business?
That's what I'm saying. It must be something serious.
I think it's just she doesn't want to give Trump a win.
I don't think. I mean, I don't blame her though. Like,
I don't think it's gonna make even a bit of difference, even if Trump does get those stimulus checks out before the election. And by the way, even if this passes now, those checks won't get to anybody until after everybody's voted.
yeah, but he'll get to go on TV and say, "I gave everybody a check." Yeah, he's fucked, man.
He's fucked
such a
anyway, though.
dumbass.
He's down double digits. We only have 2 weeks left. I mean, as long as Biden doesn't keel over and die, he's probably gonna
But,
win.
Like we said, man, to not even try. Like, he's got to give people money, and he's got to manufacture an alien false flag. I thought for sure he was going to do that. Like, think about it, man. That's one of the few things he could do to, come from behind. Like, if he claimed, say there was a false flag, like, tomorrow, and Trump claimed that, like, had a convincing, first contact or whatever. We saw the alien ship or something. And Trump, like, was the only one who could communicate with him or something. I don't know what's the kind of story he'd make, like QAnon, right? Like, he's the chosen one. Like, he's the only one that can do it. That kind of story. What do you think would happen?
I think that everything's too close in, and he's done too poorly up until now that they don't want to. And we were talking about a recession, plus the pandemic, plus all the other bullshit. Even with
you think if aliens came tomorrow,
yeah, I think
people would
that
still
no,
care about that?
yeah, I would think that people would be more in the camp of, all right, they can't meet him.
You think they would rather, if it meant they didn't get to see the aliens, they would rather vote against Trump. They'd rather have Joe Biden than aliens.
Yeah, I think they probably. I mean, by this time, what is an alien gonna do for you unless he's giving you a check? I don't really.
I mean,
I think and then the other part of it, I think for a lot of people, it's just more fun to speculate. So.
Yeah, nobody who's ever speculated about it, seriously thought about it, would pass up the opportunity to find out. Like,
but I would
think
be
about it.
more
Would
of a
you
reason.
vote for Trump in that situation?
No, I wouldn't vote for Trump in that situation. No,
You wouldn't?
I'd
If
be
he
all right.
promised that he was the alien guy?
No, I'd be all right, bro. I'd be all right. I'd be like, all right, I'm not gonna buy that one. And besides that, I think he's such a grifter that I wouldn't even know to believe him or not.
I know, but them's the breaks, man. It sucks. Like.
Well, I do want to back up to something that we both, I think, called in agreement, since we didn't call the presidential debate the way the consensus was. The VP debate, the ratings were up 26% from the Tim Kaine, Mike Pence debate. 50 million people tuned in for this one. And it looks like the consensus for most people is that Kamala Harris whooped his ass.
I mean, I don't know. Like, that's just because of the fly. People are saying that. I don't trust any polls, man. Like, I don't trust, like, because, like, it's all ideological, Like, the CNN is the left-wing one, and the
I do
Fox
think,
News is the right one,
Well, I do think that that this debate was a lot. I mean, the outcome of it was a lot more ideological. The ABC poll had Kamala winning 51 to 48%. Her likability went up a little bit.
I thought that she, like,
I mean,
she's trying to do that yes queen shit, like I said before.
Yeah.
I think I already talked about this, but she's trying to do that. But, like, that's literally the worst thing from her. For some reason, just like when she does it, it doesn't land right. It's just, it really grinds my gears, and I think a lot of people have that same reaction to it. Like, whatever it is, something about her, like her delivery, or maybe it's like the sound of her voice, something.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like the way, I don't know. Something about it, it just doesn't sit right.
Well,
you know,
yeah,
like,
my mom said the same thing. Like, she was saying, like, I don't know what it is about that lady. I hate her.
Yeah. But like AOC, like, think about when she drops shade on somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
She just, it flows, right? She's like a talented MC. Like,
yeah, like she's not
bars.
fake though. Like Kamala just comes off so damn fake.
She's so rehearsed. It comes off sounding.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And that's really what the debate was. It was two rehearsed, polished politicians. Yeah. It was if you want normalcy, that's what you're looking at. You know, expect boring, polished.
Yeah.
Stump speeches.
Just like, she would challenge him with something legitimate, and he would just respond with like something shitty that liberals have done at some point in the past.
Right. I mean, they don't answer the questions. They don't care. They just go out there and do their talking points. God, we all have to suffer through it.
Oh man, I hope they lose by a lot. Like.
Well, okay. Well, I think at this point we'll go ahead and today is Indigenous Persons Day, so we usually do our history segment on Thursdays, but we're gonna skip it ahead and we're gonna do our history segment. So,
how long has it been? This has been a good episode. We could probably just put this out as a podcast this week. It's History Hour with Tony and Matt, where we talk about history. History time.
All right. What were you saying? I couldn't hear you over the thing.
I'm saying this has been like a good episode so far. We could probably put this out as our podcast this week if we don't end up doing a guest tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I would be open to doing that. But let's see. So the story that I want to do for the history time is about this man. Let's see. Here we go. If I can pull this up here. Chief Sitting Bull. Now, he was one of the more well-known indigenous warriors that actually was pretty successful in fighting against American aggression and imperialism. Now, he was part of the Dakota tribe. And what happened was it was understood that the Dakota territories were going to belong to the natives. And that lasted until they found a bunch of gold in the Black Hills in the Dakotas. Mm-hmm. So, of course, the government wanted that land for themselves, and it led to several different battles that a bunch of them that Sitting Bull was able to actually win. The most notable one that I think a lot of people know Sitting Bull for was the Battle of Little Bighorn against General George Armstrong Custer. So, in that battle, Sitting Bull led a charge of thousands of Sioux warriors and Cheyenne warriors against Custer's about 200 men and just massacred them all. And apparently it was really embarrassing to be routed that way for the government, and they ended up doubling down on getting the territory away from the tribes. And they ran the Sitting Bull and his people off into Canada, where they stayed out there. Eventually, though, Sitting Bull did return back to the States, and he joined a Wild West show where they had people like Frank James and Cole Younger, a bunch of Annie Oakley.
That's probably why we know his name.
Right. So Annie Oakley was apparently became friends with him, and he was earning $50 a week just to ride around the arena. But Sitting Bull grew tired of the performances and life on the road, and he was shocked by the poverty he saw in the cities, coupled with the hatred that was directed toward him by the show's audience members. So he decided to return to his people, and he said, "I would rather die an Indian than live a white man." And well, anyway, he returned back home in Grand River, and he was let's see, he had he stood true to his traditions. He never assimilated. Really, is the point with him.
Well,
And
like, it's fucked that they, you
and
know,
he would there was a thing called a ghost dance that was aimed at ridding the land of white people and to restore the Native American way of life. So, because they were in fear of him, authorities directed a group of Lakota police officers to arrest Sitting Bull. And in December 15th, 1890, they entered his home and they dragged him out of his cabin. After a short gunfight, they shot him in the head and they murdered him. And yeah, he was laid to rest in South Dakota.
yeah, they murdered him.
Yep.
Fucked.
But but he was known for actually being able to defeat the American forces more than once.
Like, yeah, they always talk about how like that, you know, like you always hear from the Chuds, it's like, oh, this land wasn't stolen, it was conquered, you know, it was taken.
And that's what
like,
that's what it looks like. You have
that's
several.
not true though, but like
No, it is
to an
true.
extent, but then in this situation, they clearly had a treaty. They had agreed that was their land, and then they
Yes.
completely just fucking ripped it off from them.
Right.
It's like that's what they did.
That's exactly what it
over
was.
and over again. They made deals and then backed out of them.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. There was a treaty in place. You know, I'm glad you brought that up. But yeah, they had a treaty, and that lasted until they found out that there was gold in that land, and then immediately they forgot about the treaty, and then but yeah, to that extent, it is conquered land because you had several battles with people trying to defend their homes. You had warriors like Sitting Bull, like Geronimo, to name a couple. Chief Joseph's another one that were trying to go ahead and resist the American wave west and keep their lands to their people. And I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, they just weren't able to go ahead and do it, which is, I mean, unfortunate in that it adds to a very ugly history of how the country's treated indigenous people. And but I did want to go ahead and talk about this today because, you know, I'm in full support of Indigenous Persons Day, as opposed to what some people still call as a Columbus Day. But what I had tweeted out this morning was I think today shouldn't be fuck Columbus Day. I think it should be Indigenous Persons Day, where, you know, you look back on honor the history of the tribes that are the rightful owners of this land that we have formed our country on.
Word up. They should have. I mean, I think it's okay to celebrate, like, you know, the European discovery of America in some fashion, right? Like, I don't know how you would do that, but, you know, like, Columbus is a sickie, right? Like, you can't be like.
Yeah, I mean, Columbus was a particularly sick person. Let's just.
Yeah, I'm sure you can find some other explorer to.
I mean,
maybe not. Maybe they were all pretty terrible, because then you had like the conquistadors.
I mean, you can't really. I don't know how you would justify any of them not being terrible. They went in here and they conquered land and they took shit away from. They deceived Native American people that were friendly enough to them. You know, they were
just absolute scoundrels, man.
Yes.
Just like,
I mean,
every situation you read about, it's like,
yeah. I mean, it was a lot like, oh, they trust us so much, they're gonna take our smallpox blankets. Watch this, look, you'll never believe it, you know, and it just like sick things like that, you know. So, but it is important to remember the people that resisted and that fought back, and the people that tried to preserve their culture despite westward expansion.
Think about if they had like just not been such psychos and just been like, you know, we're gonna take this little part over here, you guys take that part, and we'll coexist. Like, we would have such a sick country right now, or like series of countries.
Yes.
You know, like if like we had like you know, different like tribal zones or whatever, like where, you know, the Sioux lived here, and like this is that part. You would have just like distinct, you know, civilizations, right? Like growing up alongside each other. I mean, that would be nice. Instead, you just have a bunch of fucking, like psycho evangelicals who just like want to burn everything down.
Yep.
And stick it in their pocket.
But I guess with that, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. That has been our show, and we want to thank everybody for joining us. If you're watching this on live, on replay, whatever it is, share the video, tweet it out, put it wherever you have people that you would want to share this with. You can follow the show at Unelectable A. Matt and my Twitter handles are right here on the bottom of the screen, like I said. And until tomorrow, I guess we're gonna try and roll again, and we're out then.
Yeah.